War Eagle Auburn family, what a day it has been. It is Wednesday night, our Auburn family live stream where we get together and we talk about anything in the Auburn family spectrum. Lots to talk about there today. National Signing Day, 2023 early signing class. Basketball is on in a matter of an hour, minutes. Not minutes, but you get the drift. Very soon after our broadcast here, lots of other things going on across all of the Auburn family spectrum, and we are here to talk about it, and we're here to talk about it with you based off your comments, your questions, and your calls. All of that is on the table tonight. Would love to hear from you, but first off, let's start each show as we normally do by using this as your check-in period. Right now, where you're watching from, post your city, your state, international, however you're here, and all together in unison, one collective mind right now. Smash the like button. Help us get this stream started off on a good note. Even if you're watching on the replay, it will help us out. But especially let us know that you're here hanging out with us on this particular live stream. As I've noted, for the normal people, they know the drill about this, but on this show, we're going to be bouncing around a lot based on what you want to talk about. I would imagine most of it will pertain to National Signing Day still. We have done already one full stream reacting to that, breaking that down. If you want some more details about that and some thoughts on that, which we kind of just dove into everything there, that's available for you. We have also posted the press conference with Hugh Freeze today on our channel as well. That's available for you. And we're not done because we got another live stream after this tonight. And we have a special guest. Well, special because she's always special to us, but it's not. It's Devin. We'll be tuning in, calling in at the end of the show here to give us a little bit of a preview because she is a partial Washington fan. So if you are planning on calling in on tonight's live stream, do not hesitate. Don't wait, because if you do, you may miss your opportunity because we might have to close the phone lines down a little bit early tonight to let her have the floor to tell us a little bit about UW and the basketball game that is at hand. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing started tonight. Our phone lines are now open for anybody that would like to take advantage of that. It's in the top of the chat. Don't be shy. I don't bite super hard. You can click on that. You don't have to be on camera. You can choose to be on camera or off camera. Just want to hear your voice, hear your thoughts and your commentary on what's most prevalent to you tonight in the realm of Auburn. Anything Auburn tonight. I feel like I'm blanking on something. There's been so much going on today, and I've been so I want to call it overwhelmed, but just kind of maybe overstimulated and overstretched today. I've enjoyed every bit of it. Just on social media all day, following and reporting on the different signees and what was going to be going down with all that, our live stream. And then I made an appearance on another YouTube channel today. So this is like the third thing on a list of like 4 big things, really 5 big things if you count being on social media all day that I had on my plate tonight. And I enjoyed this frankly the most because I enjoy hanging out with you guys and just kind of shooting the breeze and not really having an agenda, so to speak. I don't think I mentioned it, but our call-in link is brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. We'll mention them again before the show is out here. Corey is singing for us tonight. I'm dreaming of a freezing Flipmas. Well, it certainly is that. And it will be freezing around here very quickly. I think tomorrow night, where I'm located, the low is 14. Thankfully, we'll be getting out of Dodge, not really escaping that much of the cold. But if we were going to be here over Christmas, we would experience, I think, 9-degree temperatures. So it's quite chilly. Now, Brian just wants to one-up us every single time. War Eagle from Minnesota in the middle of a blizzard, lots of snow, temps below 0, freeze warning on multiple accounts there. I got the feeling that you meant that as a pun. I think you did. I'm feeling like Sinatra today. Start spreading the news. Auburn's coming for you. The ham will be 12 degrees. I think I will be in Montgomery, Alabama. Give you guys a little bit of insight to me. I have family in Montgomery, and we will be down there. I think it's 19 or in the upper teens for us. So still pretty chilly, but definitely not as chilly as where I currently am, but even up into almost the great white north, which for Brian, that is. And yes, you did make a freeze pun there. All right. What is on your mind? What do you guys want to talk about tonight? I have the feeling that we're going to get a smaller crowd tonight, just kind of based looking at it right now, because we're pigeonholed. And I just noticed that my camera keeps going in and out. That's really weird. Or at least it keeps kind of trying to refocus, which is really odd. We're pigeonholed in between National Signing Day, a basketball game. Everybody's kind of just Auburned, not out today, but this is a good time that if you have something specific that you want to hit on, touch on, especially if you're on the other live stream that you may want to discuss further. 19 commits or signees. I'm still getting used to saying that in this signing class. Here's what I was shocked by. I'll be honest with you guys. I came into today expecting at most half of the guys to sign today. Maybe that was just my own expectations that I shouldn't have had, but it's not that I thought we were going to like lose guys or anything like that. I simply thought that, we'd see a couple more commitments and things like that, but we wouldn't really see like the flips, everything. And then basically the entire class decide to sign today. The only two as of this moment that are missing, Jeremiah Cobb and Rivaldo Fairweather. Still haven't seen him roll through here. But yeah, I guess it's just a matter of timing or whatever. Who knows? Yeah. Brian says, love the focus on both lines today. Early signing day was exciting last year, but the focus on the trenches impresses me. Let me take a second here. Just realized that's like really high too. Sorry, you're gonna hear a little muffling. Hope I didn't turn that off. Looks like it's still good. And I keep debating whether I should do a video in itself about this, but I can kind of like hit on it here. So there's this narrative that we ignored, chose, failed to bring in offensive linemen last year. What I think people forget a lot is that we were just covered up with offensive linemen at Auburn. Now, we can have the discussion whether that was good or not in and of itself, given the nature of how unsuccessful it had been with mostly that same group over the last few years. But there were really no scholarship spaces to bring in a bunch of other people. Now, you would have hoped to have bring in maybe a few more or maybe some higher profile things. I think if that had happened, it wouldn't have been as big of an issue last year. But this year, you're seeing this because there's nobody. That's it. That's really all that there is. So Corey, and so he's pointing out that Kiffin only got 11 signees. I mean, yes, the petty part of me is also going to use any opportunity to rub it in any of our rivals' faces. But people can, I'm not saying you do, Corey, but people tend to forget that this is only the early signing period. What's coming is the full signing period. We just had one of these years where we got everybody in. And if you listen to Coach Hugh Freeze in the press conference today, if you had the opportunity to listen to it and kind of hear what he was saying, they had to, because of the issues of depth, of roster holes that need to be filled simply for spring alone. They had to prioritize guys that were ready to be here at the turn of the new year, to be part of this program, to be getting into this system. So that's not a shot at the guys that we got, but that kind of limited. You had to find the right guys, but also the right guys who are ready to be part of it this year and didn't want to wait until regular signing day and not get here until summer starts. So Art, yes, good kudos to the staff. What's the deal with the quarterback situation? Who's good for us in the portal? I don't know if you were on the live stream or not, Corey. I can't remember. I wouldn't worry about it so much. To me, it sounds like we have a spot available now with Keon Jenkins deciding to go to FIU. So obviously we're going to bring somebody in. To me, if you read the tea leaves, hear the message boards chatter, the social media chatter, it was all but done with Grayson McCall, and academic issues got in the way. Now, can those be cleared up? If they can, sounds like we got our guy. If not, because it sounds like he tried to go to Florida, probably some similar issues there too, and they had to move on to someone else. So it seems to me like this is more of a Grayson McCall issue than it is an Auburn issue. Outside of that, I'm just going to accept whoever comes in and just hope for the best competition. And, if Robbie Ashford's still the best guy to that, I'm going to believe what coach can do with that. So I don't think that there's a deal with the quarterback situation right now. You have 3 guys that are going to be competing for the starting spot, and that would probably put Robbie in his favor to start there. That's my assumption. If you guys have any different opinions or suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Devin says, I heard another channel say Harsin bet on the guys he had and it didn't pan out. Call it a mistake or not, but it is what it is. No, I think that's a viable option for what happened. I think whether you like it or not, or want to hear it or not, Brian Harsin was handed a bad deal and required more than 2 seasons to show the proof of his concept. Now, there needed to be a little bit more stability showed to earn that ability to show your proof of concept. So, but I'm not one of those people that was fighting for the Brian Harsin firing, but I also wasn't fighting the firing or the keeping of him. To me, I wanted Auburn to be okay, and it became more and more untenable for him to stay as head coach. And I hate that because now there's never going to be a positive reaction to him in his history in Auburn. Brian says, I just think football starts in the trenches. Amen, brother. Amen. So I like the new staff starting to build the lines. And that's really what it is. Auburn's got to get back down to the very simplest, most finite, minute basis of getting back to what wins football, and that's moving people those few inches. Not the longest yard, any given Sunday, we fight for that inch. We die for that inch is, I think, the phrase that's said by Al Pacino in that speech in the locker room. And it's really is the truth. If you cannot fight, if you are not willing to die for that inch, figuratively, obviously, then you will lose the football game. Period. Said, done, over with. Build a foundation. Absolutely. You work from that foundation out, and you use the pieces that you have at hand. So, let's walk this out a little bit. So you bring these guys in. Right now, you've got 5 new offensive linemen to mix in with who's left here. And there are others besides these 2 names I'm going to say, but they're the main 2 names that you need to consider. They are They are Tate Johnson and Jeremiah Wright, the only 2 with significant playing time that are remaining. I really wish Keandre Jones would have stayed over for this go round, because I think with him alongside Jeremiah Wright at the guard position, Tate at the center, you would give some of these. We're getting some more experience outside of the tackle in Miller. We missed out on Jada today, which that one kind of just flew by me. I almost forgot to check on him, and I looked. I was like, oh, he committed over there. But there's some others out there that with experience at the Power 5 level, or just experience in general, that you can bring in to fill those gaps, and let some of these younger guys from the interior offensive linemen be depth pieces that get to play, but aren't necessarily trusted with the starting responsibilities quite yet. That's my interpretation of how I'd work it out. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the right thing. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Now, she was in the football complex. I mean, we shared it on our social media, the video of her doing, sounds so ignorant, the round-offs. Is that what they call them? In the hallway, the main hallway there of the football facility, where I think the public can still go. Well, I'm trying to remember now, because I've actually been on the media tour, so I got to go places that nobody else went, but I think that was still accessible. It would be cool. Now, we've seen this, right? We've talked about like programs helping each other out. I actually got to talk to Coach Grabe recently, towards the end of the football season, at a gymnastics donor event. I'm not a donor, but I got invited as a +1 to be there. And we got an opportunity to talk to him. And he talked a lot about, cross, essentially, I'm going to call it pollination of, Bruce will come over and help the gymnastics meet and, you know, bring them over to, there was recruits to the gymnastics meets to watch Suni Lee and all that kind of stuff. Just how they're all helping each other is a great thing. And you love to see that. WT, good to see you, my friend. I wanted Rusaw and his buddy to come, but that didn't happen. Well, I hope you didn't convince yourself that that was going to happen, because that one was, I don't think that one ever had much legs at all. It really screamed of so many of the other high profile, expectant Bama type of players that play Auburn and make them think they're coming. Now, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say the two of them didn't at one point, especially Quay, really consider coming to Auburn. I think most kids at least weigh their options out. But, my thing and what I don't understand with the two of them, and maybe that's not their priority, but most kids want to play early. Have you seen the defensive line? I mean, not that we weren't great last year, but everybody gone. Most everybody. So that one would have made a lot of sense to me. Coach Freeze helped Malik Willis get to the NFL. Imagine what he can do with Ashford. Absolutely, he could. Just because it worked for one player doesn't mean it'll work for the other. I hope it does for both their sakes, because if it's not working with Ashford and he's the starter, then something's wrong. Yeah, but the track record's there, so you would expect at least some similarities to come out of that. I just want the best player, the best quarterback to come out there and play. So nice to see a coach put emphasis on the offensive line. I'm hoping that he and the staff are not done with the final tally. He said as much. He said, and I would encourage you to go and check the press conference out here on our channel once you're done here, if you haven't done so, to hear some of his points. I thought he was very honest about some things, and one of the things he was honest about, he said we have got some holes still to fill in the offensive line, the interior defensive line, and linebackers. If you notice, there were no linebackers today. Technically, one kind of could be a linebacker. Some of these edge guys could transition over, to linebacker. But those are the areas of emphasis to pay attention to going forward in terms of leading up to the real, I say it, this is the real signing day now. Can we just be honest? I wish they would say, you can't call it this the first signing day and then the February date, the last signing day, because that's technically when it used to open up for anybody to sign from that point on. They got to figure out two different, I guess early signing period is just the way to do it, but we all call it National Signing Day regardless. But yeah, I don't think we're done quite yet. The relationships that Freeze and the staff are building will pay dividends next year and going forward. Hope so. Really, really hope so. Apparently, there's a lot of legwork to be done in terms of the high school ranks and stuff like that, which was very, if all those rumors were true, was very shocking to me. And frankly, kind of makes me think back to the Cornelius wide receiver coach firing, who I really thought was going to be integral to recruiting and continuing maintaining relationships throughout the state of Alabama. Because he had been everywhere in the state of Alabama. Kind of makes me think back on that one now. Like, yeah, it looked like the right decision at the time to fire him. Now I'm not so sure. My understanding is he's been gone like for a long time. He may be on campus. He may be finishing up had finished up his last courses, but that's my understanding, is that he's gone. I don't know that. I mean, has he officially gone into the portal? Can anybody confirm that? I don't think so. I don't know. I just don't know. There's no confirmation that I know of on that. Checked out the press con. You're doing a great job. You're one of the ones that are doing a really good job of dropping a relevant and a non-repetitive comment. Some people's I've had to. I'm very discretionary when I delete them, because you can clearly tell they're just trying to type one thing over and over again to enter, and that's clearly not part of the rules of the contest. So anytime that comes up, I just refer them to the video. So thank you for following the rules, WC, and you're maximizing your your opportunities there. might end up winning it. You never know. So thank you for doing that. But please, I mean, I know you couldn't watch the whole press conference probably right now, but if you, unless you did, please do watch the majority of the videos if you can. I get those questions sometimes, like, how can we help you the most? Obviously, dropping a like button. Like is a big thing. Leaving a comment, but watching or just listening to all of the video all the way through is a big thing too for watch time and things like that. Those kind of boring things that we never get a chance to really talk about. Anyway, enough about me. What else about National Signing Day? We can talk a little basketball, but Devin will be on in a little bit if you want to get some more details about that. We do have our first caller that's calling in. I think he's ready. It looks like he's ready. So we'll go ahead and say hello to him. There he is, one of our fan favorites. Dusty. How you doing, sir?
Merry Flipmas, everybody.
Merry Flipmas. How are you?
Fantastic. Other than working a 12-hour workday on a day when I had like 4 hours of things to do when I got home.
Yep.
And then also coming home after a long work day and being like, okay, we got stuff to record. We got stuff to do. At least I can watch a little bit of this basketball game. Nope. What's the Pac-12 network?
I had a feeling that was going to come up on when you called in. Yeah, it's really frustrating that happens. And what's the weirdest thing is I thought in our TV package we had the Pac-12 network at one point. I guess that stopped, and I didn't know about it. So I'm either going to be doing this Fubo TV 7-day trial thing, or there's I think another option available for me or something.
I already did it for a game earlier. One of our games I've already done it. It's like, man, I paid
Which
for
one?
ESPN. I don't know. CBS. I think it was one that was on CBS Sports or something because like my AT&T has something going on with CBS Sports. I like the network, but it was on Sports Network. So yeah, now they want me to pay $70. Whatever. And my thing is like for people like my dad, like he's older, man. He's in his 60s. He doesn't have username and passwords to watch all these games. Like he's probably watched 4 games this year. They need to do something with it. Find the network. Come up with. I'll pay for SEC Plus. I pay for SEC Plus. So put it on SEC Plus.
Yeah, you would think that there would be some deal struck with the SEC network for the Pac-12 when these type of events is to get their feed redirected into the SEC network. I don't know how that works, but in today's world, I got a brand new iPhone for Christmas. Okay, listen, it's my Christmas present for myself and my wife this year. I chose new phones. The things this thing can do, we can like redirect the Pac-12 stream into the SEC stream. That's all I'm saying. Make it a little less frustrating for everybody.
Yeah, 100%. And these are big teams too. I mean, they got a fan base, and we got a fan base, and I just don't really understand what they got going on with that. But
look at Devin throwing it in our face like she got the Pac-12 network. She's over here being bougie.
Well, I'm assuming. I know Sonny probably won't be there, but Andy will be there, right?
And then I don't know what the limitations are on Sonny in terms of travel. I would imagine as he continues to age, these are a little bit more. So I would imagine to be, Brad and Andy out there. I know Andy's out there. I would assume Brad Law is out there with him.
I'll be watching them talk about it.
The other thing is, Coach Joe Champy sometimes will do former women's coach will do some spot fill-ins for men's games, and he may even be out there. I just think it's cool that we've got probably 2 of our big legacy people, men's and women's, in sports broadcasting. And for a while there too, Nell Fortner, who was the women's basketball coach a few years back, and we were dang good when she was here, and she's now at Georgia Tech. She was a broadcaster as well. So like, it's just weird when you think about the names that have been associated with Auburn that have been in like major sports broadcasting. Like I just brought up Nell Fortner, Sonny Smith, Joe Champy, Bruce Pearl. I mean, I know that was before us, but like Gene Chizik. And then you've got the players, Charles Barkley, Takeo Spikes. I mean, there's just personalities galore that are representing Auburn. Cole Kubelik. How did I forget that? I mean, just everybody's out there representing Auburn. It's a great thing to see. We didn't get on here. I know you want to talk about
you already know this is my favorite day of the year, brother.
Yes, so talk about it.
But before it goes, Speaking of the women's basketball, keep doing y'all's thing. I
Yes,
love it.
they are, man. Listen, was
Doing
it
it.
10 wins in a row? Is it? I think something like that. Is it
Last I remember seeing it at 7, and then they've won a couple. So
7 wins in a row? And I think they had that 2-game slide in a row. But yeah, they're still doing great.
yeah, no, it's good stuff. But no, just I don't even know what to say. I just watched the presser.
Yeah.
And he's up there talking about Darren Reed's mom's gravy. And it's like, man, like this guy just gets it, dude. He just gets
It's a
it.
good old boy, man. He knows what it's about down here in the South.
Yeah, exactly. And we've talked about this for years now, or at least I have on here. It's not a knock on anybody, man. It's just the way it works.
Yep.
And I think we've all kind of saw that. Like it's just the culture. You got to be from it. You got to kind of understand what it is. And you just see it. It's night and day. I mean, you think before there was people talking about my parents aren't even known. He mentioned everybody's parents by name. Man, he's a pro. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And he talked about building relationships, and that's what a relationship is, where you know of somebody, you know enough about somebody, and not just, oh, that's his parents. I know Glenn and Glenda. Yeah, I'm just throwing names out there, as opposed to Darren Reed's parents. That's a big thing.
Yeah, and so just overall looking at it, I don't know how you couldn't be just. I engage in hyperbole. I did 10 out of 10, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I will say, and look, I had no illusions about that we were going to land Mitchell, Russaw, or Smith.
Yeah, I wasn't even.
But I'm going to say, because my philosophy is always can be a little better, Yeah. So I'm going to say 9 out of 10. But that's really good, because 10 out of 10 for me is like, wow, dude, never saw that coming.
Yeah, and I woke up this morning thinking maybe Mitchell was gonna, you can look at Jason Caldwell's put out what all kind of happened with his situation with that.
Yeah, that's messed up.
It is, and then but it's kind of one of them things, Kyle, where it's like, well, okay, cool then. We may have dodged a bullet there.
Yep.
And like with Travis Hunter, I'm gonna announce my commitment when I get 100 subscribers on YouTube. Like, what?
Wait, he's on YouTube?
I guess I just saw the. Actually, I had a tweet typed out and I didn't hit send because
that's a good decision right there, buddy. That's good decision.
let kids be kids, I guess.
I think, I don't know if you were able to listen to the live stream earlier when we were just kind of reacting to everything, and I talked about the whole Cyrus Kwanjo situation. I think we've talked about it here before, and that was the day I said, no, I'm going to be invested the way I need to be, but I can never be as invested in these 18-year-olds' lives as I was at that point in my life, because it made me miserable. That day I was like, I'm done. I am done just focusing on it. I'll try to stay in the know, but I looked at a message board for the first time in years this week, just because I was trying to get ready for my business stuff.
Yeah, I've been swimming in them deep message board waters the last couple of days.
I bet you have. It's hard not to. And
no, I haven't posted nothing. I promise. I ain't gonna do that.
No. I'm just saying, just being on there, lurking and trying to figure out what's going. Everybody wants to know what's going on, and I kind of had to feel, search out there too, just to kind of dot my I's and cross my T's, and not put things out that maybe aren't true and things like that.
Well, your videos are doing well with all the commitments, man.
I appreciate that. They're doing, a lot better than I thought they would right now. I think we're obviously in a very high peak season of, interest in that kind of stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens as basketball season starts to wane a little bit, and then we'll kind of, you know how it is. We love Auburn baseball, but there's not as much energy about the season of baseball until it gets to the postseason.
We'll be here. Some of us will be here for baseball, but so everyone knows how excited I am about Connor Liu, and he's still my favorite player in the class. But really, really excited to flip Falk, and it's just a position of need. I mean, you're only bringing back Dylan Brooks, and then you have McAllister commit, and I'm really high on McAllister's character. When you bring in a team captain, I'm all for that.
Yep.
So good stuff there, but it's a high position of need, and the kid's got an NFL body, he's got an NFL frame. you got to be excited for what he's going to do when he gets in there. And then Lee, I'm already high on our young DBs. I'm already high on Caleb Wooden. I'm already high on JD Rhyme. Austin
Caleb
Osbury,
Bridges, all them.
yeah. Austin Osbury didn't get much playing time this year, but you heard a lot about him having good practices, and I was kind of worried about him hitting the portal and going somewhere with his brother, but it looks like he's going to stay. But the thing with Lee is it's going to be a crowded room, DBU. But to flip somebody from Ohio State, and Ohio State wasn't backing off. Like they were full press ahead. They didn't want that to happen. I think a message was sent today, and I think there are a lot of people around the buddy that's a big LSU fan text me and said, "Is this correct? Y'all are in the top 20?"
Well, trust me, we don't believe it either at this point.
So very excited about Falk.
Let me ask you, because I asked the people in the live stream, and I think there's an initial answer that everybody goes to, but I want you to think about it and just give me your honest opinion. Who's the bigger flip, Falk or Lee?
I'll say Lee because
I agree with you.
Okay, I'll say Lee for this reason. And I don't want to discount that Falk has been very big on relationships. So he really liked those coaches at Florida State. To flip him, it was tough. But the thing, I feel like under normal circumstances, Falk was always going to come to Auburn. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, Falk was going to come to Auburn.
Probably.
You just had a really bad situation previously, and it is what it is. But with Lee, that's not the same. Right. Falk was coming to Auburn. With Lee, you really flipped him from Ohio State, who was on top of their recruiting game. They're on top of it all. I mean, that program is where it is right now.
Right.
They're playing so yeah, that is, to me, that's the big one.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Falk gets the most attention because, I mean, effectively he is the highest ranked, commit or signee in the class now. So that alone, the perception of it gets the attention. But when you really, start kind of picking apart the context around this thing, to me, Lee was the biggest surprise. And, I heard the discussions about it and saw that it was going to be a likely. And I was like, yeah, but it kind of feels like one of those things again that, yeah, he may be really hard considering this, but he's going to go back to what he knows and what he's already comfortable with. And so when you see that flip happen, it does send a message. It says, look, Auburn may not be where they need to be right now, but we ain't dead yet. We're still here. It's that's what Cadillac said that, we ain't dead. Auburn's going to be all right. And we can do this thing. We tweeted out just before we went live. It's a photo from Todd Van Amps, the team photographer. It's the trio of Hugh, Zach, and Cadillac all sitting in a room, I guess, before the hype got started for the day, just talking. And I said, this trio right here is going to do some big things. And they did today. And if they can stay together for, another year or two, I don't know what, everybody's aspirations and stuff are.
Yeah, my little brother, he got excited because he called me and he called me after Falk and he was like, man, did you seen all these 24, 25, and 26 guys getting offered today? It's like, yeah, they know what's up. I mean, McGriff can recruit, and it's going to be fun. I mean, there's to look at what you got NIL in place. I don't think that we can discount what we did as fans the last 4 games, especially the A&M night.
Yeah.
We sent a big message that day. I think we killed a lot of narratives, or at least put something in the way of that. Like, well, hold on, look at this. And those kids saw that. And then, Zach and Cadillac, not knowing they were going to be retained. Obviously, Cadillac finding out before Zach, but just pure out of their love for Auburn. Putting their nose to the grindstone and continuing to work. Just an unbelievable day. And we're not done.
I got a question for you. Are we done yet? Don't forget my boy Trevon Reed.
I'm not. Yeah. Well, Trevon Reed doesn't know that I'm going to rob his wardrobe, but
listen, just don't rob that man's ability to bring us good news.
Somebody put a link on one of the message boards that was to where he buys his clothes, and that entire website was sold out. So
man's a walking billboard for many things: recruits, apparel. Just put the man in front of something and he'll sell it. And I'm just glad that he is selling Auburn right now. Can we just like retroactively, since we're in the vein of recruiting too? So Trevon Reed comes in as one of the most decorated at the time recruits. Debate on which position he should have played and all that. We can let's just call it what it is.
It was a hard fought battle. Pulling him away from LSU was tough.
That his career at Auburn didn't necessarily work out the way it wanted. He had a couple of pro opportunities; those didn't necessarily work out. But look what he's doing for Auburn now. And you got to think, like, you never think about recruiting someone past their time play as a player. Does that help you? And it's kind of just weird way to think about this. If you keep extrapolate, where are we without Trevon Reed? Now, listen, there's great recruiters abound everywhere, but there's something about selling your place. So, we might have Gene still to thank for the fact that Trevon Reed is here and is helping Zach, is helping Cadillac, the rest of the staff, Coach Hugh Freeze, put together a really surprisingly impressive day that could have gone a lot of different ways, pulled some surprises, and just the thing that's not being talked about enough, they kept flips from happening so far. Now I know everybody's worried about Cobb a little bit just because he's not signing until then. So let's just let that fall where it may.
It ain't gonna fall nowhere. He's coming to Auburn.
That's what I think too. But there was some pressure on Love to go somewhere else. There was pressure on others, and nobody flipped.
USC came after JC.
Yep. And so it just was one of those things that, when you got guys selling not just a place because it's their job, but because it's their heart, it's their home. That's powerful stuff, man.
And speaking on the flips, you look to do all these flips. So think what they're going to do when they have a whole year to not have to flip people, to get the guys they want to get right out the gate, just committed, locked in, and good to go.
Right.
Like
be recruiters themselves.
Yeah, it's just going to be, and layer depth is the thing. We want to get to the point to where we're not where we're at with edge this year, where all those guys are gone at the same time. We need to have it stacked up by eligibility, by years, to where we're never in the, it's just, and there's been poor roster management from multiple regimes at this point at certain spots, at certain positions. So I think we are still weak at linebacker. There needs to be some improvement there. I don't know how much more we can do in that position. There just doesn't seem to be a whole lot out there. But remember, we got Jarquez in this time. So there's still plenty out there. And I think like a guy like Ben Scott, the center from Arizona State.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, the left tackle from Tulsa. You have to feel good about him coming to Auburn, correct?
Oh gosh, yeah. Why am I blanking now too? We're not talking about Tyler Johnson, are we?
No.
He's
a high school kid. You can't think of it, Kyle, because you have 50 names.
I do. I couldn't remember Devin's name. Like earlier on the stream, I was like, that girl, she's coming on the show here to talk with UW stuff with us at the end of the game. What's her name? So yes, I have a lot going around in my head right now.
I'm with you.
Well, all right, let's round out our discussion with this. And this is not necessarily recruiting related, but it's just an interesting story. I want to bring this up. Just, not necessarily a commentary on, Allen Green, whether we liked him or not, but can we just for a second mention the weird correlation between Auburn and the Mississippi schools? Are we just trading? Is this what's happening? Like, we're trading recruits? We're trading coaches, ADs. Can you explain this to me?
I'll try my best. I'll tell you this. Ole Miss would like to trade some recruits with us. They had a mighty fun 2 to 3 weeks where they thought they were better than Auburn, and I always thought that was cute. I don't know how they lost Reed and some of the guys that they lost, because They just raised $172 million in 3 days. The Grove Collective did. So I don't know how they're 48th in recruiting. That's crazy. But I'll be in the building October 21st. Do you know the storylines for that game? Because look, you know me, I'm all about the ball and on the field. But it's going to be hard to ignore how much beef we're going to have with Lane Kiffin, and then Ole Miss with their whole history with our new head coach.
Yep.
Man, that's going to be fun.
It is going to.
CBS, don't grab it.
Remember, CBS didn't have the rights next year to the SEC games.
I thought they had one more year.
Oh, I thought it was done this year.
Oh, well, somebody look it up, and I hope Kyle is preaching facts because
I thought it was done this year. I thought there was even like a celebration. It's like it's the last time we will.
So we could have a 6:30 Iron Bowl next year.
Now, listen, I like the 2:30 Iron Bowls.
No.
I do. I really do. There's something about that game starting in the daytime, and then when 4 o'clock hit, or excuse me, 4 o'clock. Well, yeah, technically, the fourth quarter hits, that sun goes down over that stadium, and those, especially if you're in Auburn, those sunsets come over, and by the time that final, clock goes off, it's dark, and then the celebration hopefully begins. I like that because it's almost like the passage of time going over one of the most epic battles ever. So I love night games. You know, I've talked about that a lot. They're all, the night games are always the best games, and the Iron Bowl has been fun at night too. But I love the 2:30 kickoff. So I will be sad to see that go if it happens.
You make a good point. My thing is every year.
Yep.
Every year. It's like, come on, man.
That's fine. Yeah. It's fine to switch it up.
Let's do it up. But to round it out, just really impressed. I think that guys like I said, guys like Ben Scott, the transfer from Arizona State, the guy from Tulsa, I think those guys are coming. The guy Ben Scott, a lot of the recruiter guys put in predictions today.
Yep.
That he's coming. I think we all kind of can say that's probably them telling them, let's get the JUCO guys in, let's get the high school guys in, and then you can commit later in the week. That way we don't scare them off just in case.
Right.
And people can say what they want, like with Jada about Colorado. I feel like he started seeing bodies pile up. You know, it's kind of like the kid Marshall that was UCF and his whole family graduated from Auburn and love Auburn. But man, when you see a guy like Sylvester Smith come in, which is very underrated guy in this class, a 4-star that comes in on a whim this weekend, and we flip him just like that from Tennessee.
Yep.
Just a lot of good things happening, man. For the first time, I'm not having to be positive about Auburn, and then in the back of my mind be like, I'm spitting bullcrap right here. I really believe what I'm saying this time. Like, you know, this is good. It's been a good day. The adults are back in charge and all.
The adults are back in charge at Auburn. Yeah. I think some people would disagree with you there on some certain things we won't even get into, but you know, that's
still complaining.
There will always be people complaining because that's just the nature of people.
Yeah, I'll see him next year in the stadium.
That's right. I love the optimism, buddy, and I'm excited just like you. And I always appreciate your perspectives.
Yes, sir. Hey, let's get back on track on basketball tonight.
Let's do it. All right, man. Thanks. All right, that's our friend Dusty. We actually have our, rumored guest coming in here in just a second, but let me take the opportunity, let it go a little bit longer than I should have this go around. I want to mention our friends at allthingsauburn.net. You do need to check them out. Their logo's up there over my left shoulder. Please check them out, allthingsauburn.net, just for not just for a place to stay, but for your whole and complete Auburn experience. We're all about that Auburn experience here. When you go there, you just don't want a place to lay your head down. You want someone who's going to take care of you, someone that's going to make sure you got what you need. You need advice on things. Miss Tanya there has got you covered. Please check them out, allthingsauburn.net. All right, we are about 15 minutes from tip-off, and we're going to try to be out of here. Actually, Devin, I know you can hear me in the green room. We're going to let one caller in real quick just to say hello because they just got in here under the wire, and then we're going to let you do your UW preview for us. So we're switching on dime here. I got one more caller in, so we're going to say hey to him for just a few minutes here. Mr. Hal Walker, how are you?
I'm great, Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm very happy with the way my team was able to pull off a very successful signing day. And, listen, it's not one of the greatest in terms of ratings and stars signing classes out there, but it fills a lot of needs. That's the main thing right now.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good commits that they picked up. Where did Auburn end up ranking wise? I heard maybe 17s, 15s.
So it's gonna depend because of people are still committing, or excuse me, signing. I gotta get that terminology down. I gotta switch over from talking about commits to signees, and it probably is going to land somewhere in the top 20 when everything's said and done. I think we're kind of hovering right in that, like right outside the top 2021, maybe in some people's rankings, the 19th spot. But when you talk about where we were when Hugh Freeze came in at like 60, 50s, it's quite a turnaround in quite some time. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I see a good number of 4 stars and 3 stars. It looks like there's definitely some talent that's going to be available for Hugh Freeze to coach up.
Yep.
Make even better. So that's an exciting day.
Yep. It is very exciting because of just some depth pieces that we really, really need at that position. Since we're about to talk about basketball, though, any thoughts on that Auburn basketball team from what any opportunities you've gotten to watch them?
Well, I've enjoyed watching them. I think they've got just a handful of new guys that probably just need to get to where they work a little bit better together. It's hard to replace the talent that they lost last year, but I think they can pull things together and have a good SEC season and probably a very good chance of getting into the dance and going a little way. So we'll just have to see how that works out.
On the note of like where Auburn ends up, but just thinking about like college basketball and SEC basketball in general, the SEC is really hard to figure out right now because you got Alabama who's knocking down people left and right, but you've got these other teams that you wouldn't expect to be dropping games to North Alabama. I think it was Ole Miss dropped North Alabama. Texas A&M lost to someone else, and not that Texas A&M was going to be expected to be one of the top tier teams in the SEC this year. It's really hard to kind of gauge thus far in non-conference play who is going to be the stable ones for the conference, because you got Auburn with 2 losses. They're decent losses, so it's not something to get really super worried about. But everybody came in here expecting Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Auburn, Alabama to be at the top, and for the most part, that's still the same there. Any thoughts on what you've seen thus far about SEC play and kind of like who might be at the end of it?
I think it just comes down to being able to kind of coach up your young talent. I think last year the SEC had a lot of people that they lost to the NBA, and whether they were seniors, which a few were, but there was a lot of underclassmen that left early. It leaves gaps, and it does take a little while. I mean, I know you were a hoops player. It takes a little bit to become a cohesive team. You just can't throw 5 great athletes out there and expect them to play well together as a team. It does take a little bit of work. I have been surprised by some of these losses, but those things happen. I mean, it's early. I remember, it wasn't too long ago that a lot of teams would go out and just play nobodies most of the preseason or pre-conference schedule. And now we've got teams going out there playing big teams, and a lot of times they're beating them. But then you've got these teams that'll walk in and surprise you.
Yeah.
I remember teams in the past that would play up or down to whoever they played. They would often barely win or barely lose, and it would leave you scratching your head, going, "What happened here today?"
Yeah. It'll be intriguing because obviously you talk about cohesion, getting acclimated to your teammates, and that's true for Auburn. That's true for all these SEC teams, all these college basketball teams. When we get into conference play, that's when we're really going to see some of the dividends being made for some of these teams and what they're actually going to be, how competitive they are or not going to be. Hal, I hate that we're short on time tonight, but thanks for calling in. Love to always hear from you, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here, Kyle. Y'all have a good night.
You as well, Hal. All right, Devin, we're bringing you in, my friend. You are on the call, Miss UW fan. I have wasted your not wasted, but I have taken a lot of your time just talking about everything under the sun tonight. So I need you to tell me, as a former, current. You there? You there, Devin?
Hang on 1 sec. Yeah. Are you there? We good?
Yes, I am here. Are you there?
Okay. All right. I think we're good.
You good now? Can you hear me? Yes, no, maybe so.
Hang on 1 second.
That's fine. Take your time. By the way, if you are in the call waiting room, unfortunately, we're not going to be taking any more calls tonight.
Okay.
I do apologize for that. Only Devin is going to be on the call for the rest of the night. So I'm sorry about that. Devin, are you there?
Okay. Are we good? I think we're good.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, great. Okay. So, current UW fan, except when they're playing Auburn. That's pretty much how it goes for me. My husband, for those who don't know, my husband went to UW, so he's an alum. So when we were living there, we went to the games. So we are UW fans, but I'm an Auburn fan first. So
that's what I like to hear.
Yeah, but I have been following the team this season. I was actually, because before the season started, I was saying that it won't be much of a contest, but I watched the first UW game and I was like, where the heck did these Giants come from?
Yeah. Because
I had not been following UW that closely the past, last season or the past couple seasons. So it was it's been interesting following them this season. So they're definitely a second half team when playing better competition. So that'll be interesting to see, because Auburn can sometimes be a second half team as well. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would not be surprised. Like, they were down 15 at halftime against Cal Poly, and they came back and won. So it's like, sometimes I feel like they treat the first half like a shoot around, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're actually playing a game, so we should probably play.
It sounds very similar to Auburn. I'm not gonna lie. That's so. Yeah, it's not dissimilar to Auburn in some past years, at least. Yeah. I am jealous that you have the Pac-12 network, because we.
I didn't realize. I didn't even really think about it, because it's part of we have Sling, and we have the sports add-on, and it's part of the package. So I didn't even think about that. People don't have it.
It's the weirdest thing. You would think there's some coordination where we all can just have everything, but I guess that's just too easy to do these days. All right, so
all their home games are on the Pac-12 network, so I'm sure they have an exclusive deal with them or something.
Yeah. Hey, let me just real quick, Kevin, I do see that you're calling, buddy. We're not taking any more calls tonight. I apologize, buddy. We're going to be late on time tonight, so unfortunately, we're not going to be able to take your call, but please do call in next week. So what are you feeling right now on this UW Auburn game? You've seen Auburn drop 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen them, being in Washington, come back and do some things that maybe surprised you, because even you earlier in the year was telling me no, Auburn's going to roll over UW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where are you feeling right now?
I feel like if Auburn can limit turnovers, then they can win. I think turnovers are going to be huge, because they are neck and neck statistically with turnovers.
Yeah.
And turnovers have been a problem for UW for sure. So I think if they can limit turnovers and create turnovers, then they'll win. Fouls are also something that they're going to have to be careful. UW's a pretty good free throw shooting team. Overall in the season, they're 76%, but the last 6 games, they've been over 80%.
Right.
So, so I feel like Auburn has the slight edge, but I think here in my mind, it could either be a really good game with both teams playing really well, or it's going to be whoever sucks less. which I hope it's not that way, but it really could turn out that way.
So here's what I take away from the last game we played. What I saw as a team that literally, if they had just not hurt themselves, should have gone into Galen Center and beat USC by enough. I thought we rose to the occasion outside of that particular. Yes, you can do some things better in other areas. And so the challenge, like you said, you saw turnovers were going to be a big part for either team. So if Auburn does come in to, here in Seattle, like what's the arena called there? Do you know?
Alaska Airlines.
Alaska Airlines. Okay. Yeah. I've flown that once, actually going to Alaska. If they can go into a hostile environment and show that that was a fluke, that's going to be a really good thing, not only for their resume, but for a lot of other things. As Hal was talking about a little bit earlier, these teams are still, some of these teams, and I think Auburn's one of those, really trying to find their footing, really trying to figure out how everybody works together, and even differently when you don't have Wendell Green 100% healthy. And you got to think he's probably not 100% healthy tonight, because I'm sure maybe not aggravated, but at least, made his foot a little bit more uncomfortable running around on full speed on it for the few minutes that he got. So it's tricky. But what do you think? Final prediction. Auburn or UW?
Final prediction. I think it's going to be Auburn 74, UW 69.
Auburn, you say that one more time.
Auburn 74, UW 69.
All right. So about a 5-point victory there. Is that like we barely squeak by at the end, or we got a lead and they kind of just chipped it away at the end? What do you like?
I think we might. I would not be surprised if we take a big lead into halftime and then they come back, but then we manage to squeak it out. I would not be surprised.
Are you wearing purple?
I am wearing Auburn.
No. There you go.
No. I'm all Auburn.
Well, at least we got to see where your loyalties lie tonight. I'm happy and confident knowing that, I kind of squirm a little bit when I see people having these dual fanships, but I understand people got ties outside of Auburn.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to know
that. I've been an Auburn fan a lot longer than I've been a UW fan. So
yes.
Yep.
Well, I hate we didn't get much more time to talk about it, but it's literally about to start, and I know you all want to go watch it. I do too. Thank you so much for giving us your perspective as a UW fan.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, Devin, talk to you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All right, final things here before you run off. Go to that basketball game. Don't forget, we have a post-game live stream tonight. That was the wrong thing to push, Kyle. We have a live stream after this. Devin, you're a Booster Club, so if you want to call in later, I know it'll be late, and talk on that, you are more than welcome to do so. So do check that out if you want to call in, or if you just want to watch that along with us tonight, right after the game. It'll be a late one. I'm already super tired. Tomorrow night, the Auburn Experience flagship show for this network is on. And as always, check out those links in the description, ways that you can help support our content. Let's go get this win, folks. Or I hope I'm not eating my words, but let's go get a win. Let's keep the good vibes rolling today. I appreciate you all being here. Smash that like button on the way out. I'm off to watch this basketball game. Till I'll talk to you again. War Eagle.